Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Another best friend situation story. To start, I'm going to say that I don't think that what my husband is doing is particularly cheating. But with a little bit of added context, I want to explain why it hurts and then I'd like some input. So this will likely be a discussion of the grey areas of hurt in relationships. The things that aren't quite cheating, but things that don't quite sit right with us at the end of the day either. I want all the input, opinions and your similar experiences also. For context, my husband and I have had some issues with our relationship the past couple years. He's never physically cheated, as far as I'm aware. But it seems like it's always been something. For example, when we first got together and for months after, he was still exploring his options. Even when he was the one that initiated that we be exclusive, and was very adamant about being exclusive. None of this came to light until about a year ago. When we got married, anytime we would have a spat he would run to Tinder. Or seek out his old high school friends of. Things like that. He never met up with the people he would keep talking to, but they weren't friendly conversations. They had intent. To clarify, the only way I'd ever found out was when something would come up on his phone while he was showing me something. He and I were both in toxic relationships prior where they were constantly snooping through our phones and it just felt like an invasion of privacy, so I've always respected that even when he gave me reasons not to. Also, no shame to the people that do snoop occasionally, I'm only saying that he and I discussed ways it made us feel. Also, when we discussed the things he did later he would say it was just to piss me off. Or because he lost control of his emotions in the moment. So naturally, when we have spats, I get nervous. Anyways, fast forward to now. There's always been a best friend from home he talks to. He brings her up from time to time, but it seems okay. Honestly, with the way our history has been it always made me a little bit nervous, but I don't ever want to be that controlling, constantly worried person in the relationship. And having friends of the opposite sex does not immediately mean something is going on. People of the opposite sex can absolutely be friends. I've expressed that I'm excited to meet her someday and he's told me she's said the same blah blah blah. He'd been away for a few weeks for work recently and when he got back we'd been catching up. I asked how she's been because he brought her up, normal stuff. He admitted that she'd confessed feelings for him but that he shut it down. I thanked him for telling me and we just shrugged it off. The past week I felt a change in the wind and my anxiety had been through the roof. That gut feeling had returned and kept me up at night. But I want things to be normal so badly, so I let it go. Until last night. Last night we had a small spat about something completely unrelated, so I brought it up. I asked how she's been and if they talked recently. He said that she's been trying to get him to come home to see her. So I asked to see that he properly shut down her feelings before. And he immediately got defensive and upset. Which I knew wasn't the greatest of signs. He ended up showing me. She was making jokes about everyone thinking they used to sleep together, and something about my husband's penis being bigger than her ex. He replied something along the lines of guess you'll never know, I'm married now and that's exclusive to her and only her. Which made me happy, that's the right thing. She replied never say never. With a bunch of the cringy emojis. Which, nice. But he did it, he politely shut her down. I continued scrolling and the conversation ended for the night and he wrote to her the next day you hate me now? Wait what? Her being so forward while knowing we're married rubbed me the wrong way. But then scrolling through the rest of the messages and realizing that it wasn't an isolated incident makes me feel so gross. She openly flirts with him constantly. Talking about how hot he is, trying to get him to come see her, which without all of the very obvious and open flirting and confessing of feelings it wouldn't be a big deal otherwise, her talking about how they're soulmates and should have tried things together. Most times he just replies with a heart or kind of avoids it, but he only straight up addressed it the one time. And that just doesn't feel right. It's just such an uncomfortable situation to be in. I really don't want to come off as controlling and ask him to stop talking to her, but it's very clear that it's not just a normal friendship at this point. I don't know. She is not a friend of the marriage. He needs to go 100% no contact with her. Does she currently have a significant other? If so, inform them what she is texting. Tell him you would like to have a time to talk with in the near future without distractions. Tell him you took time to process the situation. You feel that she is way outside the boundaries that are acceptable and she needs to go. I love that friend of the marriage concept. It's from the book Not Just Friends. She has a boyfriend, yes. I brought it up to him, and he said he would cut off contact with her. But to be honest, I want him to tell her why. I want her to know that she's being disrespectful. But that could just be me being upset and being crazy. Do not invalidate your feelings. You are 100% right to not want your husband to have contact with her. Have him make a phone call with you on the room. Do not give him a chance to forewarn her via text. See how she interacts with him when he calls. If he refuses to end contact in front of you, this is a red flag. If she answers all "hey baby," then you know your husband is not telling you the truth of the relationship. Figure out her boyfriend's contact information and talk to him directly. Send him screenshots. You need to be stronger. You seem meek. Demand respect. Do not be treated second best. You deserve to be cherished. I can definitely be meek, but after years of dealing with this I do get quite loud and demanding when need be. I just want to make sure that I'm acting rationally before I go all out on something. I actually think the phone call is a good idea and I might try that. I spoke with him when he got home but he was too depressed to deal with it. Which in turn just makes me angry, because it's clearly a tactic to avoid responsibility. Yes. Tell him that he needs to end it in front of you. No exceptions. She is not a friend. She is an enemy. He needs to go no contact. A come to Jesus moment with your husband needs to happen. You are not being controlling. She is trying to come between you and your husband. This has become close to an emotional affair. Listen, you better intervene quickly and ask the hard-nosed questions. The other woman has an advantage because he has only experienced her online. He has not seen her in the flesh. Even if she sent him pictures, those could be years old. She could look horrible, or she could be hot. My guess is that she is a woman that is desperate and doesn't have much going for her if she is rabidly pursuing a man that has told her that he is married. My belief is that the op should have her husband arrange a dinner date where the op is introduced to that woman. My bet is the husband and op will come away feeling that the op is simply better and that should end the flirtation. I think you're a little confused. They were friends in high school. And I'm not sure any of that would matter anyway. Her being good looking or not is beside the point. The flirting shouldn't happen whether it's better looking or not. You are right that the flirting should happen, but it is. Your husband has an idealized version of her in his head. You can try therapy, but the reality is that until the idealized version of that woman is knocked out of your husband's head, she will always lurk you online via him. How many men or women look better after 26 years of age than they did in high school? A few do, but most don't. I know what I suggest seems like brute force, but maybe your husband needs to realize that when it comes to old flames, current affairs seldom match the memory. I'm sorry, I'm confused by that. All I know I'm never too keen on, they are only good friends or a best friend. Nope. You are in a toxic relationship right now. Your husband is cheating on you emotionally and possibly physically in the near future at the rate he is going. I mean, you have a spat he runs to hookup sites. Really, he is toxic. He had been disrespecting you and your marriage with not cutting contact on his own when she wouldn't be respectful of you and your marriage. He should have cut all contact with her. I mean, you think he would think it was acceptable if it was a male friend texting you that way? I brought up your last point to him. He said I was right, and he knew it was wrong. But then he bounces between that and saying he didn't do anything wrong because he didn't flirt back, lol. Sorry, but he never shut it down. Sounded more like playing hard to get. Shutting it down would have been telling her to stop disrespecting my wife and marriage, and if you continue to behave this way I will stop speaking to you. This is 100% the only response. I agree. It's easy to get wrapped up in my head, so this comment is pretty validating. Makes me feel less crazy for expecting that. I don't know how to politely put this, but he's a cheater and you're a doormat. Do better for yourself. Doing my best. While he should get credit for shutting her down and not flirting back, it's still disrespectful to you to keep a friendship with any person, male or female, who tries to harm his marriage in any way. And she is trying to harm it and you. She has no respect for your husband or his marriage. Tell your husband a real friend wouldn't put him in that position to begin with, so she's not his friend. That's exactly what I told him when I confronted him on why he wrote to her "You hate me now?" the day after he shut her down. Why would a friend with good intentions hate you for saying your junk is for your wife only? Like what? If I was in your position, I would give him a chance to end that friendship by phone and in front of you. Don't let him warn her first, or even let him walk out of the room. If he won't do it, he's more than likely hiding something. Then I would call her myself. The only thing that makes me think there's more to it is that even though he shut her down pretty hard that one time you saw, she keeps going. I would have to wonder what message he is sending her that makes her keep trying. Would he let one of his buddies disrespect you and his marriage over and over? We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.